Deeds, your favorite realtor here at the Deeds Group at Point Realty, and I have your market update for what month are we in? Where it's later in April than I would like it to be, to give you your March of 2025 update. So what I like to do is I like to look at obviously the month of March and how things wrapped up versus what the month of March did last year. So really interesting numbers to me, actually. And I think that you could look at these numbers and like panic, but I think that there is no reason to do that. And so actually, I probably need to do a separate report that shows pre-owned construction versus brand new construction, and do breakdowns by price point and things like that. Because if you look at the average sales price in Mansfield, it has dropped by about $50,000. The average sales price has gone from $527 down to $477. I don't think that that's because prices have just suddenly dropped in Mansfield. I don't think that's the issue. Are we seeing adjustments here and there? Maybe. What I actually think is happening is that people are just buying less. So the $500,000, $700,000 houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer, and we're not selling quite as many of them. Whereas the $300,000 and $400,000 houses are going faster, and we're seeing more of those sell. So when you look at an average price point, you just have more of the lower priced homes selling than the higher priced homes. If you look at the number of closed sales, we actually closed about 20 more houses in 2024 in March of 24 than we did in 25. So in Mansfield in 24, there was 104 deals done. And in 2025, only 89 deals were done. So with that number being lower and the sales price being lower, what I actually think is happening is I think people are just buying the less expensive houses that are on the market, because also the days on market went from 65 up to 93. So with that days on market increasing, that higher average is telling me that the higher priced homes are probably taking a little bit longer to sell. So what I want you to take away from this is not that there is a problem. There is no fire. Do not panic. It just means that people are using their buying power a little bit differently. And it also means that we are in a more balanced market than we have been in a very long time, okay? So we went through a season after the market crash back in 08, 09, 10, those years that were very difficult on our economy, on people in general, on people losing jobs, getting laid off, for home foreclosures. There was all those terrible things happening, and it was a buyer's market. If you had a home to sell, it was gonna take you a long time, and you were gonna basically have to give the buyer everything except for your firstborn child to get out of that house. Buyers were getting closing costs paid for, they were getting everything. We very quickly transitioned as the market recovered. It almost didn't have time to recover before we ran into this crazy low interest rate, frenzy of multiple offers, where then it pendulum swung to a seller's market. And then buyers were having to give up everything but their firstborn child in order to get into a home. If a seller said, I want you to bring me a dozen roses every Friday until closing, then the buyer would agree to do that, because that's how badly people wanted into houses. So that was a seller's market. Right now, we are in a much more balanced market. There's much more fair negotiation, much more buyer-seller give and take. Agents are having to compromise with each other again. So what I want you to hear from this is not that we have pendulum swung back into a buyer's market, because that's not the case. The case is it is a more balanced market, and people are using their buying power differently. So they're not jumping into $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 houses. They're being a little bit more frugal with their dollars. Okay. So that's interesting that that's what's happening in Mansfield. In Burleson, we've actually seen a little bit of an increase. In Arlington, we've stayed a little bit more even. Midlothian's had a small increase. Fort Worth has been pretty even, and Grand Prairie's even had a small increase. But the important thing to know about those areas is that they were at lower prices to begin with. So the people with the buying power, that's the other thing. They're going to other areas. Instead of Mansfield, maybe they're looking in Midlothian because they can get more for their money in that area, or same with Arlington or Burleson. So that is my opinion about all the things that are happening. If you have questions, if there's anything we can do for you, specific information about your personal house, if you'd like to know what it's worth, what you can sell it for, if you'd like to know what's out there in your price point or what you can afford with what you're trying to do now, I would love to help you. So please call, text, comment on this video, shoot me an email, however you want to get in contact. I will communicate the way you want to, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much and have a good one.